So Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, made an appearance on Fox News tonight to talk about the verdict against Donald Trump, where he was found guilty on all 34 felony charges against him, and Todd Blanche totally flopped. It was a disaster. His entire goal in this interview was seemingly to downplay the results and say that the trial was not fair. I think Donald Trump probably prepped him for this interview to go in there and just say, hey, it wasn't fair, just do my bidding for me, which Todd Blanche has done throughout the entire trial. So I have a couple of clips to show you from this interview, and it just didn't really go well for Todd Blanche. You think it would on Fox News, but he kind of fumbled over himself. And the first clip I want to show you is at the very beginning of the interview, where he was asked, do you think your client got a fair trial? And you can take a look at your answer, but you can probably guess what he had to say. Take a look.
Did your client get a fair trial?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, we've been saying for over a year that we couldn't get a fair trial in Manhattan. We couldn't get a fair trial with the judge, and it played out in lots of ways exactly as we expected.
Yeah, that's just utter nonsense. There's not one moment in this trial where Todd Blanche and Donald Trump and all of the rest of the MAGA lunatics can point to and show bias from the jury or the judge. The trial was perfectly fair. The judge was flawless, fantastically done, fair to both sides. The jury was a group of average, everyday New Yorkers who were selected by both sides. And this whole, can't get a fair trial in Manhattan is nonsense. Because look, if you don't want a trial in Manhattan, you don't want a trial in New York City, don't commit crimes in New York City. You're not going to get a trial in Louisiana after you commit a crime in New York City. You're going to be held accountable in the jurisdiction where you committed the crime. And Todd Blanche tried to get it moved out of New York City as a delay tactic. It was like 2 weeks before the start of trial, and then Todd Blanche tries to file a change of venue motion? Give me a break. They just wanted to push back the trial. That's all it was. And they couldn't prove that they needed a change of venue. Donald Trump was the guy who kept talking about the trial and brought all the media attention to it. If he would have just been quiet, there wouldn't have been as much media attention. You don't get to try to taint the trial and then have your request granted. But even aside from all of that, there was no bias. There are plenty of New Yorkers out there in Manhattan who maybe voted for Joe Biden. Maybe they voted for Donald Trump, but that doesn't mean their entire lives are politics, and they feel super strongly about either man. There are plenty of people who can be impartial out there, and Todd Blanche and Donald Trump were involved in jury selection. So the entire MAGA playbook right now is to just try to undermine the justice system, try to attack the trial, the validity of it, attack the judge, attack the jury, attack all of these people that try to paint Donald Trump as innocent, as a target. It's nonsense. They would rather put Donald Trump, people like Todd Blanche as well, would rather put Donald Trump over the rule of law, the occupation that he works in. He'd rather put Donald Trump's conspiracy theories over that. It's insane. Trump got a fair trial. Any of these MAGA Republicans telling you otherwise, well, they're lying. Yeah, so I'm just going to call that a MAGA excuse, because that's what it is. Every single time something bad happens to Donald Trump, it's either the election wasn't fair, the trial wasn't fair, the jury was this, or the judge was that. That's always what it is. There's always an excuse. Donald Trump will never take accountability. That's what it is, a MAGA excuse. So the second video from this interview I want to show you was Jesse Waters, the Fox News host, asking Todd Blanche if he was satisfied with jury selection and was Donald Trump involved. And again, his answer is just such nonsense. So take a look at it.
Are you satisfied with jury selection? And was the former president involved in that in any way?
I mean, very much involved. He was right there with the whole team talking about the potential jurors. Look, was I satisfied? We put a motion in because we said we could not get a fair jury in Manhattan. And that's not I'm not being disparaging to the jurors, man. They were great. They showed up on time every day. They were committed. They paid attention. But we're in a situation where we had a very limited number of people we could strike. And most of the folks, overwhelming number of folks, had a very strong opinion of President Trump, and it wasn't positive. And so imagine you, Jesse, going to trial facing 34 felony counts, and 100 people walk in the room, and the judge says, basically, if you have a strong view of Jesse Waters, you can go ahead and leave. Half the room leaves. Half the room just walks out. Okay, so that's what we were dealing with. And look, that's not a reflection of the jury pool. That's not even a reflection of the judge. That's just the reality of New York City.
Yeah, so again, the whole not fair, change of venue, garbage, we just kind of touched on it. But now specifically, he's talking about the jury, saying that he can't have a fair jury, which is nonsense. He just admitted right there in that interview that Donald Trump himself was involved in jury selection. Trump's lawyers were, of course, involved in jury selection, which is how it always goes in voir dire, the pretrial proceedings when they're selecting juries. The defense attorneys are always involved. And according to Todd Blanche, apparently Donald Trump was involved as well. So are you trying to tell us, the American people, that Donald Trump and you, Todd Blanche, rigged the jury against yourself? That you intentionally picked bad people and that you weren't satisfied with it? Is that really the play here? Is that really the talking point they're going with? Give me a break. The gaslighting never ends with MAGA Republicans. Every time, every single time, it's somebody else's fault except themselves. It couldn't just possibly be that Donald Trump broke the law and that the district attorney and his prosecutors proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. They will never consider that possibility. It has to be that the jury wasn't fair, the venue was bad, or the judge was mean, or the FBI was wrong, or the DOJ was awful. It's like, give me a break. The jury was perfectly fair. They did their job. They deliberated for over 9.5 hours, over multiple days. They deliberated. They did their job. They went through every single felony charge and found Donald Trump guilty on every single one. They served valiantly, honorably. They dropped their lives to come serve on this jury, and they'll remain anonymous. But it's so mind-boggling to me how MAGA just not only always comes up with an excuse, but then the followers believe it. They're like, you know what? Todd Blanche said it. Donald Trump said it. It couldn't have possibly been fair. It's such nonsense. Yeah, so once again, it's just a bunch of excuses. I mean, that's what it is. Every single time they come up with an excuse as to why something bad happened to Donald Trump, and now it's attacking the jury, attacking the judge, attacking the venue. Garbage, garbage. So the last clip I want to show you is at the end of the interview with Jesse Waters, where Todd Blanche is asked, would you do anything differently? And his answer is quite interesting. Take a look at it.
Would you have done anything differently? Is there a witness you said, oh, maybe I should have called that witness. Maybe I should have done this?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that, man. Like, we had a team. You know, my team is amazing. You know, the folks that work with us they're brilliant, and then the president has a team, and they're brilliant, and we all did the best that we could, and I wouldn't change anything that we did. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be folks that are on your show that take a different view, and maybe I will too at some point, but no, we did the best we could.
All right, well,
you know what? This is the first time in this Fox News interview that I agree with Todd Blanche. I would also hope that he wouldn't do anything differently. I would hope that he would keep the same strategy. Why? Well, Donald Trump got found guilty on 34 felony charges, which was the right decision based on the evidence. So, yeah, Todd, I hope that you wouldn't do anything differently. Your team just did such a stellar job by embarrassing yourselves in the courtroom, embarrassing Donald Trump. I mean, Todd Blanche is just another MAGA stooge at the end of the day, right? This is a guy who left his job, left his law firm to go work for Donald Trump. He's been to Mar-a-Lago to wine and dine with all of these Republicans. You know, he's another MAGA stooge. He's going on Fox News and using Donald Trump's talking points. The right verdict was reached today, and it was a good day for America and a good day for the rule of law. So I'll leave the video there. This was a total flop, a faceplant of, you know, just epic proportions, just a bunch of conspiracies, not much substance. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Also drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about Todd Blanche's interview this evening. And as always, I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.